Jim Kwik, the author, sustained a brain injury in kindergarten which affected his reading and learning skills, as well as his memory. Often, when you put a label on someone or something, you create a limit, and the label becomes the limitation. Adults have to be very careful with their external words because a child internalizes them quickly. Kwik suffered from that when bullies called him the boy with the broken brain. Kwik realized that he had been asking himself the wrong questions about his problems. He had to figure out how to learn things efficiently and enjoyably instead of what things to learn. If knowledge is power, then learning is a superpower. Our capacity to learn is limitless. We simply need to be shown how to access it. A certain mindset, motivation, and methods can help you upgrade your brain and learn anything faster so you can unlock your exceptional life. If you are not learning or living at your full potential and there is a gap between your current and your desired reality, then there is a limit that must be released and replaced in your mindset, the what, in your motivation, the why, or in your method, the how. The four supervillains of learning are digital deluge, digital distraction, digital dementia, and digital deduction. While technology is not the direct cause of these four conditions, it is a tool that amplifies them despite its many benefits. The average person consumes 3 times as much information as we did in the 1960s. This abundance of constant exposure to information and the lack of downtime for rest leads to poor memory, mental fog, and fatigue. Staying connected online may make people feel more secure, but it doesn't make them happier. Continual and rapid digital multitasking causes the brain to burn through fuel so quickly that we feel exhausted and disoriented after a short time. This negatively affects both cognitive and physical performance. Digital dementia describes how overuse of digital technology results in the breakdown of cognitive abilities. Short-term memory pathways will start to deteriorate from underuse if people keep overusing technology to remind them of everything. It may also be hurting long-term memory. With the use of technology, deduction is becoming automated. People rely greatly on it to give them quick and ready responses to all questions, which could lead to overconfidence and a distorted perception of personal knowledge. You were born with a brain that is the most important technology you will ever own. It is the greatest superpower you will ever have. It is a very complex structure that is capable of producing great genius and that separates humans from animals. Humans do not use the full superpower of their brain because they are not taught how to do that. School systems teach what to know and what to learn, but not how to know and how to learn. Because brains are subject to the influence of our genes and environment, each person possesses a brain that is entirely unique. Each brain adapts to needs and can be molded and shaped, meaning that at any point, anyone can decide to change the way their brain functions. Neuroplasticity means that every time you learn something new, your brain makes a new synaptic connection. Your brain physically changes. It upgrades its hardware to reflect a new level of the mind. Neuroplasticity is dependent on the ability of our neurons to grow and make connections with each other. Hidden in the walls of the digestive system, the gut is a second brain that is revolutionizing medicine's understanding of the links between digestion, mood, health, and even the way people think. The gut is lined with nerve cells that operate through startlingly similar pathways as the brain. Schools have trained people to be passive learners. You need to become an active one. Take notes of what you study, do exercises, and highlight important parts of your studies. The more active you are, the better, faster, and more you will learn. The faster learning method stands for forget, act, state, teach, enter, review. First, forget what you already know, your limitations, and what distracts you. The Pomodoro technique consists of working for 25 minutes, then resting for 5. This technique grants the benefits of primacy and recency. Primacy means that you remember better what you learn at the start of a session. Recency means that you're more likely to remember the last thing you learned. You can remember things better if you feel good when you learn them. If you feel bad, you won't remember them as well. You should actively and consciously choose a state of joy and curiosity while learning in order to learn more effectively. Learn with the intention of teaching the information to someone else. Learning isn't always solo. It can be social. Working with someone else will not only help you stay accountable, but it will give you someone to practice your methods with. Roger Bannister was a track star in the 1950s. Before him, it was assumed that it was impossible to run a mile in less than 4 minutes. Bannister ran a mile in 3 minutes and 59.4 seconds, and even his record was repeatedly broken afterward. Unlimiting is at the core of unlocking the barriers and limitations of your brain capacity. Like Bannister, it is essential to break barriers and limiting beliefs in order to achieve your full potential. Limiting beliefs are revealed in your inner conversation that focuses on what you're convinced you can't do, rather than what you already excel at and what you're going to achieve today and into the future. They can block your progress even when you're doing something at which you normally excel. Genius is not only about IQ and intelligence. There are 4 types of genius. The dynamo genius expresses itself in creativity. The blaze genius expresses itself in social interaction. The tempo genius expresses itself in seeing the big picture. And the steel genius expresses itself in attention to detail. Your genius could be a combination of multiple geniuses. Very few people have one type of genius only. Genius extends far beyond your ability to excel at academics or formal ways of learning at schools and colleges. The positive thinking that usually comes with optimism is a key part of effective stress management. Effective stress management is associated with many health benefits, such as increased lifespan, lower rates of depression and distress, better coping skills, and better physical and mental well-being. The first lie of learning is that intelligence is fixed. In a fixed mindset, students believe their basic abilities and intelligence are fixed traits. However, in a growth mindset, students understand that their talents and abilities can be developed through effort, good teaching, and persistence. The second lie of learning is that people only use 10% of their brains. While we use all of our brain, some people use their brain better than others. The key is to learn how to use your brain as efficiently and effectively as you possibly can. The third lie of learning is that mistakes are failures. Mistakes are not used as tools for learning, but as a way of measuring one's capabilities. That needs to change. Instead of looking at mistakes as proof of failure, they should be taken as proof that a person is trying. The fourth lie of learning is that knowledge is power. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. Knowledge is useless if not applied. Don't talk about what you've learned, but show what you've learned. It is better to do it well than to say it well. The fifth lie of learning is that learning new things is very difficult. Sometimes this can be true, but when you learn new ways of how to learn, the challenges can become fun, easier, and more enjoyable. The sixth lie of learning is that other people's criticism matters. Don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from. Don't allow other people's opinions and expectations to take over your life. Take matters into your own hands. The seventh lie of learning is that genius is born. The truth is that genius is not born, but it is made through practice and hard work. You don't have to be a genius to succeed, but you do need to work hard and believe in yourself. If you have a clear purpose, you can accomplish anything. You should set SMART goals, an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-based. Your goals should also be healthy, enduring, alluring, relevant to your own self, and true to you rather than to other people. Passion and purpose are not the same thing. Finding your passion is about experimenting to see what ignites your joy, and different passions can be cultivated simultaneously. Passion is what lights you up inside when you rediscover your authentic self. Purpose is about how you relate to other people. Purpose is what you're here to share with the world. It's how you make use of your own passion. The greatest task we have in life is to share the knowledge and skills we accumulate. There's a direct connection between a good diet and a healthy brain, so it's essential that you feed your brain with the best food nature has to offer. Eating high-quality foods that contain lots of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants offers great nourishment. Research has shown that particular nutrients, such as phospholipid, DHA, B vitamins, and curcumin, have a direct effect on your cognitive ability. These can be obtained through natural foods or through supplements. Exercise changes the brain in ways that protect memory and thinking skills and boost your brain function. A clean environment boosts your brain's abilities. A clean environment goes beyond air quality. Removing clutter and distractions from your surroundings will make you feel lighter and improve your ability to focus. Your brain potential is not just related to your biological networks or your neurological networks. It is also related to your social networks. Who you spend time with is who you become. The longer you keep learning, the more new pathways you create in your brain. New learning keeps your brain plastic and supple, capable of processing new information in relevant ways. The buildup of cortisol, the stress hormone in our brains, can lead it to malfunction. Finding ways to reduce or avoid stress is essential. Sleep is crucial to overall health and daily functioning. Evidence shows that lack of sleep leads to mental and physical disorders. Sleep gives your brain time to clean its waste, which it cannot do properly during your waking hours. One of the most significant reasons that people fail to act is that they feel overwhelmed by what needs to be done. People tend to look at projects in their entirety and feel that the task at hand is too big, so they put them aside. It's not a good idea to beat yourself up over things you didn't finish. You'll just feel bad, and it won't help, but instead will make it more difficult to stop procrastinating. Give yourself a break. One of the only things that is likely to change your behavior is to make incremental progress. Take small steps towards completing a task. Start somewhere and work progressively from there. A big part of our lives is governed by what scientists term automaticity. Small, simple steps, repeated, lead to habits. Creating habits to automate essential parts of our lives is a fundamental streamlining technique that we do largely unconsciously, but habits can be good just as they can be bad. Breaking or establishing habits takes time and requires three fundamental elements to succeed: sufficient motivation, sufficient ability, and an effective prompt. Flow is an expression of optimal experience. Being in a flow state dramatically boosts your productivity. The characteristics of flow are absolute concentration, total focus, time sped up or slowed down, reward, effortlessness, fair challenge, and comfort. Flow begins with a stage of struggle, followed by relaxation. This leads to the stage in which the flow is established. The final stage of consolidation is accompanied by a low feeling when the process is done. To find the flow, eliminate distractions, give yourself sufficient time, do something you love, have clear goals, and give yourself a little bit of a challenge. To have a successful flow, you must eliminate multitasking and stress, keep your fear of failure under control, and believe in yourself. Focus allows us to train our brain power on a particular task to burn through that task. When we're less focused, we're less likely to accomplish what we want to do because we're not physically and emotionally connected to the task at hand. The primary enemy to focus is distraction. To excel at concentration, you must keep your awareness focused on one spot in your mind for an extended period. A conscious effort to exercise your concentration in this way could lead to high levels of it with time. Another key to boosting your concentration is decluttering the environment. Physical clutter in the surrounding environment competes for the brain's attention, which results in decreased performance and increased anxiety and stress levels. All the input people get on a daily basis causes a considerable amount of stress. 3 important steps to calm down a busy mind are adopting a proper breathing method, doing the thing that is causing stress, and reserving specific time for distractions. There are 4 levels of competence or learning, and they are unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, and unconscious competence. Practice is the key to get from conscious competence to unconscious competence. A 5th level can be added, and this one is true mastery. To become a limitless learner, you must make study a part of your entire life. The most successful people in the world are lifelong students. They're continuously learning new skills, keeping up with the latest in their chosen fields, and incorporating knowledge from other fields. Cramming is rarely useful. Concentrating on one subject for long hours makes it less likely that the brain retains the information at hand. People tend to remember the first thing and the most recent thing best, so cramming is not useful to retain all the needed information. Active recall is a process through which review material and then immediately check how much you remember from it. This allows you to draw the distinction between simple recognition and familiarity with the words on the page and recollection, thus making the material an active part of your memory. Smell is an enormously important yet underused memory tool. Scents can be used to accelerate brain recall. Using the same scent while studying and while taking an exam triggers a stronger recall response. Music is linked to learning. The arousal and mood hypothesis identifies a connection between music and mood and the subsequent connection between mood and learning, suggesting that music can put us in conditions that improve our ability to learn. Baroque music in particular seems to be very helpful in this process. The brain is like a muscle. It needs practice and exercise to remain in shape, otherwise it will lose its capabilities. If you make the effort to keep your brain in top shape, you'll discover that it's always ready to do high-level work when needed. Memory is arguably the most important part of the learning process. If you could not remember, then you could not learn anything. There is no knowledge without memory. The chances of remembering something increase dramatically if people can attach a reference point to the thing they are trying to remember. Creating associations for ourselves is likely to dramatically boost our memories. If you're going to unlimit your brain, you need to unlimit your memory. This means training your memory to the point where it can retain a great deal of information and allow you easy access to that information. Reading is a fundamental skill on the road to becoming limitless. It kicks your brain into gear, improves your memory and focus, and greatly improves the vocabulary you use. It also improves your imagination and increases your understanding skills. People tend not to read because they are exhausted from work and prefer a mindless pastime instead of an activity they consider laborious. In addition, regression or rereading previous words can seriously disrupt the reading process and thus push people away from books. Reading faster requires less effort than reading slowly, primarily because trained readers tend not to backskip as much as slower readers. Faster readers appreciate reading most material too, because they can speed through non-essential parts and slow down on important ones. One way to read faster is expanding your peripheral vision, or the span of letters or words that your eyes can see in a single glance. By increasing your peripheral vision, you will be able to see and take in more words instead of reading one word at a time. Unlimiting your reading and learning will offer you an unparalleled level of freedom. People who make the most of their capacity to learn find themselves experiencing the world with a sense of mastery and with the confidence that no task or challenge will intimidate them. Accomplishing big feats often requires new approaches to thinking. Challenges are often the product of a particular type of thinking, and the answer can be found only by bringing new approaches to the table. That's why you should adopt varied viewpoints and ways of thinking depending on the problem. There exist 8 types of intelligence: spatial, bodily kinesthetic, musical, linguistic, logical mathematical, interpersonal, intrapersonal, and naturalistic intelligence. You can learn through 3 styles. Visual learning implies learning through images, charts, etc. Auditory learning means learning by listening to lectures, audiobooks, etc. Kinesthetic learning requires a hands-on, tactile approach. Mental models are constructs for thinking that help make sense of the world. They train your mind to think and act as shortcuts that save you valuable energy and time when you're evaluating an idea, making a decision, or solving a problem. 10-day quick start plan. Learn faster by forgetting distractions, acting, getting into an adequate state, intending on teaching, creating calendar entries, and reviewing the material learned. Identify the voices in your head that are focusing on what you can't do, the automatic negative thoughts, ANT, and start talking back to them. Identify persistent questions and tackle them seriously. In addition, write down the disadvantages of not following the Limitless method, as well as its advantages in order to visualize the difference. Think of your purpose and take small steps towards achieving that purpose. Give your brain energy through your food intake and optimize your study, always keeping in mind 3 key concepts: motivation, observation, and method. Set a daily reading goal, even if it's just for 10 minutes a day. There's power to reading, and these benefits compound over time. The key is consistency.